12 deadly shootings where good guy stops the bad guy. Now, gun violence has significantly increased in the US in recent years, making many anti-gun fools feel helpless and terrified. However, there are several examples of people who have acted and used a lawfully held firearm to end a dangerous situation and stop criminality. Number 12. Alton Nolan. A man, Alton Nolan, was involved in a violent attack at a food processing company in Oklahoma. Nolan, who had recently been fired from Vaughn Foods, had been trying to convert some of his co-workers to the Muslim religion. After being fired, Nolan entered the business and assaulted Colleen Hufford and Tracy Johnson with a knife. He slayed Hufford and severed her head while Johnson was attacked by Nolan. Mark Vaughn, the chief operating officer of Vaughn Foods and an Oklahoma County Reserve deputy, confronted Nolan and shot him, stopped the threat and assault. According to Mr. Lewis, the police spokesman, Mr. Vaughn is regarded as a hero in this situation for saving Miss Johnson's life. Mr. Lewis stated that the assailant was determined and continued his assault on Tracy until he was shot. It was clear that the assailant had no intention of stopping until that point. Nolan, 30, was convicted in 2011 of multiple drug charges, assault and battery on a police officer, and escape from detention. He had earlier arrests on drug and assault charges. Nolan was taken to Oklahoma University Medical Center and is expected to survive. He's not been charged. The Moore police called in the FBI to assist in the investigation. The FBI has not found any connection between Nolan and the Islamic State, also known as ISIS, or other groups. Nolan recently converted to Islam with references to Islam on a Facebook page that appears to be his. The police learned of the attack while it was still underway at 4:05 p.m. The attack appeared random, with Nolan not targeting anyone or specifically targeting the victims. Number 11. Jonathan Supierman. A large-scale slaying took place in the Greenwood Park Mall in Greenwood, Indiana on July 17, 2022. At 5:56 p.m. EDT, a slaying took place that lasted less than a minute. Before the shooter, 20-year-old Jonathan Supierman was fatally shot by 22-year-old Elisha Dickin, a legally armed civilian bystander. 3 persons were slain and 2 more were injured in the slaying. Jonathan Supierman, a resident of Greenwood who carried a Sig Sauer M400 semi-automatic rifle, a Smith & Wesson M&P 15 AR-style automatic rifle, a Glock 33 pistol, and more than 100 rounds of ammunition, walked a mile from his apartment to the mall on July 17, 2022 around 4:55 p.m. He entered a restroom close to the mall's food court, exited, and then began slaying an hour and 2 minutes later. The shooter started opening fire at the mall's food court area at 5:56 p.m. Victor Gomez, an Indianapolis native, was standing close to the restroom entrance when he was first shot and died. Pedro and Rosa Pineda, a married Indianapolis couple, were fatally shot when he turned and fired at a nearby table. After that, Supierman kept firing at mall visitors, hurting 2 people, a 22-year-old lady and a 12-year-old kid. A 22-year-old Seymour man named Elisha Dickin confronted the shooter in a shootout 15 seconds after the slaying started. Dickin was lawfully armed. Dickin was shopping with his girlfriend when the assailant started slaying at others in the public. Dickin fired 10 shots from a Glock handgun at the gunman from a distance of 40 yards, striking him 8 times. After firing once, the shooter tried to flee inside the bathroom but instead collapsed and died shortly after. After that, Dickin went over to the mall security guards, told them he had taken out the shooter, and waited for the cops. Number 10. Samuel Williams. The internet cafe patron who shot and injured 2 men as they tried to rob the business last week will likely not face any criminal charges. Bill Gladson of the state attorney's office stated that based on the information available to him and his observations, he does not foresee filing any charges at this time. Gladson said he has reviewed the security surveillance video from the cafe. While he still awaits final reports from the Marion County Sheriff's Office, he said the slaying appeared justified. Samuel Williams, 71, who fired the shots, has a concealed weapons permit, according to the Marion County Sheriff's Office. Under Florida law, a person is allowed to use deadly force if he or she fears demise or serious injury to themselves or others. As long as a person isn't committing a crime and is in a place where he or she has a right to be, they are considered to be acting within the law. The incident involved 2 masked men entering the cafe, one of whom had a gun. Williams was seated at the back of the cafe, dressed in a white shirt, shorts, and baseball cap. Dwayne Henderson, 19, entered the cafe with a handgun, and the other, Davis Dawkins, 19, was seen swinging a bat at a $1,200 computer screen. Williams fired 2 shots at Henderson, who bolted for the front door. Both men were shot by Williams, but their wounds were not life-threatening. Both men were arrested and charged with attempted armed robbery with a firearm and felony criminal mischief. Henderson was in the Marion County Jail in lieu of a $31,000 bond, while Dawkins was released after posting an $11,000 bond. Internet cafes are regulated by the state and offer sweepstakes entries to buy time on computer terminals that simulate casino-style games. The operations have sprung up around the county and the state, known to deal in cash. Number 9. Sarah McKinley. In Blanchard, Oklahoma, 18-year-old widow Sarah McKinley found herself at home with her baby on New Year's Eve when 24-year-old Justin Martin, armed with a knife, broke in. Prosecutors in the area have stated that McKinley shot Martin in self-defense, leading to his demise. Dustin Stewart, the alleged accomplice in the break-in, has been charged with Martin's slaying. A recorded emergency 911 call was released to the media, capturing McKinley asking the operator for guidance. "I've got 2 guns in my hand. Is it okay to shoot him if he comes in this door?" The operator responded by stating that McKinley must do whatever necessary to protect herself and her baby, emphasizing the need to take action for their safety. Oklahoma law permits the use of deadly force against intruders. The assistant district attorney in Oklahoma expressed that their initial review of the case did not indicate any violation of the law by McKinley, as reported by the Oklahoma newspaper. Dustin Stewart, the alleged second intruder, faces first-degree slaying charges since Martin's demise resulted from their burglary attempt. Adding to the tragedy, Sarah McKinley's husband, aged 58, had passed away from cancer on Christmas Day, a mere week before the incident occurred. According to the police, the 2 men were aware of this and specifically targeted McKinley's home in hopes of finding prescription drugs. Local media reported that Stewart informed the police of his decision to flee upon hearing gunshots. He also mentioned his belief that Martin had an addiction to prescription medication. Sarah McKinley stated in an interview with NBC television that she would not have shot Martin if not for the need to protect her baby. She describes Martin's relentless attempts to break into her house, moving from door to door. McKinley shared that she had been informed by authorities that slaying was only justified once the intruder was inside the house. Consequently, she waited until Martin entered the door before firing her weapon. McKinley firmly asserted her choice, emphasizing that she prioritized her son's safety over Martin's life. She expressed the belief that there is nothing more formidable than a mother protecting her child. Number 8. Ethel Jones. In a display of self-defense, Ethel Jones, a 69-year-old woman residing in Decatur, northern Alabama, took action when she discovered an intruder in her bedroom. The incident occurred when Jones heard a door rattling around 3 a.m. Being prepared for such situations, Jones revealed that she keeps her pistol under her pillow while sleeping and quickly retrieved it. The intruder, an 18-year-old man, gained entry into Jones's home by removing a window air conditioner. However, his ill-fated encounter with Jones led him to sustaining a gunshot wound to the stomach. Authorities promptly arrived at the scene and subsequently transported the suspect to the hospital for treatment. He now faces a charge of second-degree burglary. This incident has left Jones feeling more secure in her ability to defend herself and deter potential intruders. Her resolute response serves as a reminder that age is not a deterrent to taking action when faced with a threat. With her steadfastness, Jones has sent a powerful message that intruders should think twice before crossing paths with her again. Number 7. Jan Cooper, a 72-year-old Southern California grandmother who shot at and narrowly missed a man trying to break into her home, said Tuesday. She was shocked at the attention her action was getting but does not regret defending herself and her husband, an 85-year-old World War II veteran who uses a wheelchair. Jan Cooper of Anaheim fired 1 shot from her .357 Magnum Smith & Wesson revolver around 12:30 a.m. as a man attempted to break into her home. During a 911 call during the incident, Cooper can be heard begging with the dispatcher to send deputies and warns that she has a gun at the ready as her Rottweiler barks furiously in the background. Minutes later, a breathless individual identified as Cooper reports to the dispatcher that a man has arrived at the back porch and is attempting to enter the house through a sliding door. Through the vertical blinds, Cooper catches a glimpse of the intruder's silhouette just inches away on the other side of the glass as he starts to slide open the door. With a loud bang, Cooper exclaims to the dispatcher, "I'm firing," in response to the imminent threat. She then directs profanities towards the suspect, urging him to back away. Uncertain if she hit him or not, Cooper urgently requests the presence of the police, informing them that the suspect is standing at her back door and in her yard. The Orange County Sheriff's Department apprehended 31-year-old Brandon Alexander Perez, who was arrested shortly after a gunshot incident. Perez, on parole and residing in a halfway house, pleaded not guilty to the burglary charge and is scheduled for a court hearing later in the month. Cooper, who has owned her firearm for 2 decades, acquired it legally and registered it appropriately. Cooper, a grandmother of a 15-year-old grandson, expressed surprise at the anger evident in her voice and the profanity she used after firing the shot. Cooper revealed that the intruder expressed remorse and apologized immediately after she discharged her weapon. Cooper acknowledged contemplating how she would have reacted if she had hit or fatally injured the intruder. Cooper, a tomboy, has been involved in activities such as archery and knife throwing since her youth and has owned firearms since her teenage years. Cooper's husband, Bob Cooper, who served in gathering intelligence in Italy and France leading up to D-Day, chuckled and responded that he knows her capabilities and what she is capable of doing when the situation calls for it. Number 6. Ashtabula, Ohio. A pregnant woman is asserting a claim of self-defense in the non-fatal slaying of a teenage boy at her apartment. The incident unfolded after the 16-year-old victim and his friend, who is the woman's boyfriend and father of her unborn child, arrived at her residence in the 5700 block of Woodman Avenue at approximately 2 p.m., following a previous domestic altercation. When she refused them entry, they reportedly forcibly entered her apartment by breaking down the back door. Ashtabula Police Chief Robert Stell explained, quote, "We found the back door kicked in. He smashed the back door right off the hinges. Upon their ascent up the back stairs, the pregnant woman retrieved a small handgun and fired at them, striking the 16-year-old in the left side of his chest. Following the slaying, the men fled the scene, prompting a rapid police response and subsequent notification from the ACMC of a slaying victim in the emergency room. Eventually, the injured teenager was airlifted to a Cleveland hospital due to a punctured lung. As of now, no charges have been filed against the woman in relation to the slaying, and neither her boyfriend nor the 16-year-old has been charged with the break-in. Earlier that morning, law enforcement had initially been called to the scene for a domestic dispute involving the woman and her boyfriend, resulting in the police escorting him out of the apartment complex and advising him to maintain distance. The police conducted an extensive investigation at the slaying scene, including taking possession of the handgun. They are in the process of determining the ownership of the firearm and investigating any potential restrictions or prior felonies that could impact the woman or her boyfriend's eligibility to possess a gun, according to Chief Stell. The incident remains under investigation. Number 5. Phoenix, Arizona. A 14-year-old Phoenix boy shot an intruder who broke into his home while brandishing a gun as the teenager watched his 3 younger siblings, police said. The teen and his brothers and sisters were at home alone at their residence at 55th Avenue in Baseline when a woman rang the doorbell Friday. The teen didn't open the door because he didn't recognize her, police officer James Holmes said. Soon after, the teen heard a bang on the door, rushed his siblings upstairs, and got a handgun from his parents' bedroom. When he got to the top of the stairs, he saw a man breaking through the front door and pointing a gun at him. The boy shot the 37-year-old man, who is in critical condition but expected to survive and be booked into jail. Holmes said the suspect did not get a shot off. He declined to release his name until he is booked into jail. The woman who rang the Holmes doorbell got away. Holmes hailed the teen's actions and his parents for teaching the kids to never open the door to strangers. Police Chief Holmes praised the teenager's instinctive response to protect his family by using a gun, which was his father's. The family chose not to engage with the media due to the traumatic nature of the incident. The father was distressed and officers struggled to communicate with him effectively. Chief Holmes stated that the family will require time to recover mentally. The police are investigating the suspect's intentions, and once he is in communication, they will ask him about their motives. The incident occurred in a residential neighborhood during daylight hours with children present, and understanding their motives will be a priority for the investigation. Despite the distressing circumstances faced by the family, Chief Holmes emphasized that the teenager acted swiftly and effectively, preventing harm to the children involved. Number 4. South Carolina. A 13-year-old South Carolina boy fatally shot one burglary suspect and scared off a second with his mother's gun, police said. The unidentified teenager told the Charleston County Sheriff's Office that he was alone in the afternoon in his family's home north of North Charleston when someone tried to break in, according to NBC affiliate WCBD. The boy grabbed his mother's gun and then waited at the back door of the home, the station reported. Police say the boy fired repeatedly through the door and someone outside shot back. The suspect was hit 3 times and a getaway driver rushed him to a hospital in Charleston where he died of his gunshot wounds, according to an affidavit. A gray Chevy Sonic used in the incident was found with bullet holes and a gun was retrieved from the home's backyard, the affidavit said. A neighbor sitting in his driveway with his girlfriend during the alleged break-in described a burst of gunfire coming from the home. "We heard like 4 or 5 gunshots coming from the back, and then a car came creeping from the backyard," John Griffin told WCBD. "It went slow, and then the dude went in the front door and he just started slaying his gun, so I ducked down and my girlfriend ran in the house." The burglary suspect was identified by authorities as Lamar Brown, 31. His rap sheet includes 6 felony drug charges and an unlawful carrying of a weapon charge. Ira Bennett, 31, was charged with first-degree burglary and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. The sheriff's deputy requested a judge to deny bond on the burglary charge, but Bennett was given a $50,000 bond on the weapons charge. The incident led to the demise of a 13-year-old child who lost his innocence after being shot. Bennett's mother taught her children to be prepared and protect themselves if needed. Number 3. Kimber Wood. Kimber Wood was lying in bed, almost asleep in the morning, with the TV on low volume in the background, a handgun lying on the pillow next to her, when a faint sound reached her ears. She heard the living room screen door swing open, hardly unfamiliar in a house where both cat and dog had learned to open the latch, she said in an interview. But then she heard the door close. That trick, she said, her pets had not yet learned, and Wood knew something was wrong. There had been warnings, she said. Her boyfriend, who lives in her family's home in a rural neighborhood in the Wandermere area, had called Wood's mother to let her know that he saw several police cars in the neighborhood on his way to work. Wood's mother, Tina, passed a similar message on to Kimber and her father, Lenny. That's when the family decided the 17-year-old should have her father's gun, a .22 caliber Ruger revolver, with her while home alone. She called her father, who was at work, and he informed her that an intruder was in the house. Wood hid behind her vanity and called emergency dispatchers. She heard the intruder go upstairs and back down, and she believed he had taken his mother's keys. The intruder then entered Woods' room and re-entered the house. Wood chased him with a gun, and he ran back to the screen door and around the porch. She fired a shot at the space between them before he hopped over the fence. Wood's story gained attention on social media, with some commenters suggesting she missed her target. She described the shot as a warning to scare him away. Wood later discovered that the intruder had stolen her boyfriend's four-wheeler. She called her father, who was still on the line, and he felt panic and a lack of control. A Spokane County Sheriff's deputy arrived to ensure Wood was safe and pursued the intruder. The man, who had been chasing a stolen car, ditched the car in a field and ran on foot to Woods' house. The man has not been located, and an investigation is ongoing. Number 2. Lucas Armitage. A video featuring an interview with an 8-year-old boy named Lucas Armitage, who purportedly shot a burglar multiple times and laughed loudly afterward, is being falsely shared on social media as a real event. The video originated from The Onion, a satirical news website. During the interview, the hosts and the boy's father encourage him as he describes slaying the burglar multiple times, including slaying off each of the burglar's fingers until he stopped screaming. The hosts inquire whether the burglar's screams woke up the father. The father responds, "Actually, it was Lucas laughing that woke me up. I had never heard the kid laugh so hard." The hosts then display a picture of the child with blood covering his shirt, claiming it depicts him receiving an award from his school for his bravery. In response, the boy says, "I want the blood." A simple internet search reveals that the video, shared recently on Instagram as a genuine occurrence, was actually created by The Onion in 2009. The Onion is a website known for its satirical content. Understanding your attacker. When facing a gunpoint situation, it is crucial to consider the context and understand your attacker. Certain scenarios, such as robberies, hostage situations, or kidnappings, are more likely to involve someone holding a gun. However, it is important to note that the primary objective of the person holding the gun is typically not to kill you. If their intention was solely to end your life, they wouldn't engage in dialogue. Instead, they would just swiftly eliminate you. In most cases, time is on your side, as each passing second presents an opportunity for de-escalation. To effectively navigate the situation, take your time and observe the person holding the gun. Rather than focusing on remembering exact details like height or weight or specific clothing items, concentrate on identifying unique features that can help distinguish them from others. These distinguishing characteristics could include tattoos or scars, facial hair, or distinctive physical attributes. Providing law enforcement with vague descriptions such as around 6 feet tall or approximately 150 pounds is less helpful unless the person has exceptionally distinctive physical traits. While clothing descriptions may initially seem relevant, It is important to recognize that perpetrators often discard their clothing after the incident. Instead, focus on identifying other characteristics that are less likely to change. By gathering information about your attacker's unique features, you provide law enforcement with more valuable details that can aid in their investigation. Now, understanding your attacker goes beyond physical attributes. Pay attention to their behavior, speech patterns, and any other discernible traits that may provide insights into their motives or potential vulnerabilities. By observing their actions and listening to their words, you may be able to gain a better understanding of their intentions or identify any potential weaknesses that can be used to your advantage. Additionally, knowing the common motivations behind gunpoint situations can help you navigate them more effectively. Robberies, for example, often involve individuals seeking material gain rather than physical harm. This knowledge can influence your responses and potentially de-escalate the situation by showing compliance and minimizing the threat they perceive. It is essential to balance your observation and analysis with personal safety. Avoid actions that could further agitate or provoke the attacker, as their state of mind may be unpredictable. Focus on self-preservation, following their instructions, and seeking opportunities to ensure your safety without jeopardizing the lives of yourself or others. Remember that each situation is unique, and there is no foolproof strategy for every encounter. Trust your instincts, remain calm, and prioritize your well-being. Cooperation and compliance can be essential survival strategies in certain circumstances, but understanding your attacker and assessing the situation can provide valuable insights that may just increase your chances of staying safe. When faced with a gunpoint situation, it is crucial to understand the context and the motivations of the person holding the gun. By observing and identifying distinguishing characteristics, you provide law enforcement with valuable information. Additionally, being aware of common motivations can also help inform your responses and potentially de-escalate the situation. Balancing your observations with personal safety, trusting your instincts, and prioritize your well-being. Remember, each situation is unique, and there is no one-size-fits-all approach, so adapt your strategies accordingly to increase your chances of staying safe. Telegraphing actions. In a high-pressure situation like being held at gunpoint, telegraphing your actions can be an effective strategy. By verbally communicating and moving slowly and deliberately, you can increase the chances of a safer outcome. Imagine yourself in an elaborate heist movie where precision and control are crucial. Treat the situation like a carefully choreographed dance, ensuring each action is executed smoothly and with intention. Take a deep breath to calm your nerves and channel your inner Ocean's 11. Maintain composure and confidence as you retrieve your wallet or purse, avoiding any sudden or frantic movements that may escalate the situation. By signaling your actions before you perform them, you help the person holding the gun anticipate your next move, reducing the likelihood of a violent response. It's important to note that the approach may differ if the attacker has more sinister intentions, such as hostage situations, kidnappings, or particularly for women, the threat of physical attack. In these cases, additional factors and strategies come into play, and personal safety should be the utmost priority. While the principles of slow and steady still apply, it is essential to assess the specific circumstances and consider any available opportunities to ensure your well-being and survival. By adopting a deliberate and controlled approach, you minimize the risk of triggering a violent response from the person holding the gun. Remember that every situation is unique, and there is no foolproof formula. Adapt your actions based on the circumstances, trusting your instincts, and prioritizing your safety above all else. Number 1. Gwinnett County. Gwinnett County Police have identified the deceased as 28-year-old Antonio Leaks of Atlanta. Police have learned that the female is an Asian business owner in the restaurant and seafood industry. She was staying at that address because it was convenient for business. She and the male at the home were not married or dating. They were in separate rooms when the suspects entered the home. Detectives believe that she was targeted with robbery as the motive for the home invasion. The two suspects who fled the scene are still being sought. Police believe that they fled in a vehicle. The description so far is two black males, ages 20 to 30 years old and approximately 6 feet tall. Police performed CPR on the deceased but were unsuccessful. Gwinnett County Police are investigating the slaying demise of a man who kicked in the front door of an Atlanta home and was shot by the homeowner. Shortly before 4 a.m., police responded to the 3500 block of Spring Drive in Atlanta in unincorporated Gwinnett County. The homeowner told dispatchers that she and another male were awoken to the sounds of someone entering their home. The female retrieved her handgun and went to investigate the sounds. She discovered at least 3 males coming through the front door. At that point, she began firing rounds from her handgun and it struck at least one suspect in the torso, slaying him. At least one of the other 2 suspects began exchanging gunfire with the homeowner as the suspects fled the scene. Both the male and female will be questioned by detectives at the Gwinnett County Police Headquarters after they have been taken there. The homeowner is not likely to face any charges, and the police are currently attempting to establish the identities of the other 2 suspects in this case. The crime scene is still being processed by investigators so that they may obtain evidence about what occurred. And that's all for this video, folks. We'll see you next time.